you're kind, you're loyal, you're ready for real love. So why do you keep attracting men who disappear, give you mixed signals, or pull away as soon as things start to get serious? Understanding the psychology is just the first step. So stay tuned to learn how to break free from the cycle. Next, I'll show you the practical signs to spot emotional unavailability before you get attached, and how to protect your heart without shutting it down. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. So many women find themselves caught in the same frustrating cycle, falling for emotionally unavailable men over and over again. And the worst part? Every time it happens, it chips away a little more at your hope, your self-worth, and your belief in love. Today, we're going to uncover why this keeps happening, and more importantly, how you can finally break the pattern. Alice Miller's work emphasizes the deep impact of childhood experiences on our emotional lives as adults. Who is Alice Miller? A renowned Swiss psychologist and author, best known for her groundbreaking work on childhood trauma and its long-lasting effects on adult emotional health. She spent much of her career exploring how early emotional wounds, like neglect, emotional repression, or abuse, can shape the way we see ourselves and form relationships later in life. So let's get back to our topic. When a child's emotional needs are neglected or invalidated, it can create long-lasting emotional wounds. This neglect can take many forms. Sometimes it's the physical absence of a parent. Other times it's an emotionally distant caregiver who is physically present but emotionally unavailable. Or it might even involve being forced to take on adult responsibilities too early. The underlying theme in all these cases is that the child's emotional needs are not being met in a healthy or nurturing way. For instance, if a child grows up in a household where their emotional expression is stifled, where they're told to toughen up or that their feelings are not important, they may learn to suppress their emotions. Over time, this emotional suppression becomes internalized, and the child grows up believing that their feelings don't matter, or worse, that their needs for emotional connection are unimportant. Sometimes the root of emotional unavailability doesn't begin in adulthood. It begins in childhood. Picture this. A child waits by the window. Maybe their father promised to take them to the park but never came. Maybe their mother was always in the next room, physically there but emotionally unreachable, lost in work, stress, or even addiction. That child learns something quietly but deeply painful. My needs don't matter. I'm not important enough to be chosen. So they adapt. They stop asking. They stop expecting. They become the easy child, the one who never cries, never complains, never causes problems. But that self-reliance comes at a cost. They disconnect from their own emotional needs, burying them to survive. Fast forward years later, that same child becomes an adult, and while they may look independent, confident, even successful on the outside, inside they carry the same fear. If I open up, no one will really be there. That's why emotional closeness feels so hard. Vulnerability feels dangerous, because they were never taught that their needs would be met. Instead, they were taught to expect disappointment. And here's where the pattern repeats. They're drawn to partners who are emotionally distant, not because they want pain, but because it feels familiar. It mirrors the love they knew, and they keep trying to earn the affection they didn't get as a child, hoping maybe this time it'll be different. But it never is, until the pattern is seen and broken. What emotional unavailability looks like. Let's get clear first. What does it mean when someone is emotionally unavailable? It's the guy who talks a big game but avoids deep conversations. It's the one who's just really busy with work right now. It's the man who lights up your phone with flirty messages but disappears when you need support. It's inconsistency. It's hot and cold. It's being close enough to feel a connection but distant enough to never feel safe. These men might not even realize they're unavailable. Some are emotionally shut down because of past trauma. Others never learned how to process emotions, and some, they just don't want commitment, but enjoy the benefits of your attention. Whatever the reason, you end up investing more, hoping your love will convince them to open up. And that is where the cycle starts. Why you keep attracting them. Now here's the hard truth. Attracting emotionally unavailable men is not about bad luck, it's about patterns, subconscious ones. Often, the root lies in your early emotional experiences. Maybe you had a parent who was inconsistent, loving one moment, distant the next. Maybe you had to work hard to earn love, approval, or affection, so your brain wired itself to chase love that feels just out of reach. When you meet a man who's emotionally distant, it's familiar, and what's familiar feels safe, even if it's painful. It mimics the emotional highs and lows you've learned to associate with love. Your nervous system is craving the fix, the reward of finally getting that distant man to open up. It feels like winning. It feels like proof that you're lovable. But that's the trap. Because even when you sense red flags like inconsistent texting, vague answers, avoidance, you ignore them. You tell yourself, maybe he's just stressed. Maybe I'm overreacting. You overcompensate. You chase. You bend. You hope. But love shouldn't feel like a test you have to pass. And yet, the more unavailable someone is, the more it triggers your need to prove your worth. The psychology behind it. There's actually a term for this cycle: anxious attachment. People with anxious attachment often fear abandonment. They overinvest early. They obsess over every message, every sign, every change in tone. And they're often drawn to people with avoidant attachment styles. Those who fear intimacy pull away when things get close and keep their emotions locked up. It's like magnets, opposites attract, but this creates a push-pull dynamic. You crave closeness, they crave space. You pursue, they withdraw. The harder you try, the more they pull away. It's exhausting. Here's something else you might not realize. Emotional unavailability can sometimes mirror how you feel about yourself. Maybe a part of you feels like real intimacy is risky. Maybe you secretly fear being truly seen, so you pick people who can't see you fully, because then you don't have to risk rejection. Unconsciously, you choose people who validate your old wounds, rather than people who can help you heal them. Signs you're stuck in the pattern. So how do you know if you're stuck in this cycle? Here are a few signs. You fall for potential, not who the man is, but who you hope he could become if he just healed, just opened up, just tried harder. You feel anxious when they don't respond quickly, and relieved when they throw you breadcrumbs. You do most of the emotional labor, initiating conversations, planning, fixing, explaining. You mistake intensity for intimacy. If there's no drama, it feels boring. You ignore red flags because you want the story to work out. And even after they leave or disappear, you blame yourself. You wonder, was I too needy, too much, not enough? This isn't love. This is emotional survival mode. So how do you stop? How do you stop attracting and accepting emotionally unavailable men? The answer isn't about playing games, changing your appearance, or figuring out what they want. The real work begins inside you. You stop attracting these men by healing the part of yourself that once believed you had to earn love, chase affection, or settle for breadcrumbs. Because the truth is, we don't attract what we want. We attract what we believe we deserve. And if deep down you still carry the belief that real love is just out of reach, that your emotional needs are too much, or that closeness always leads to pain, then you'll continue to be drawn to relationships that confirm those beliefs. Step 1. Become emotionally available to yourself. That means being radically honest about what you feel, what you need, and what you've been tolerating. Start asking yourself, why does part of me feel safer with someone who won't choose me fully? Go deeper, journal, reflect, maybe even work with a therapist. This isn't about blaming yourself. It's about healing the original wound that keeps choosing pain. Step 2. Raise your standards. Not in a superficial way. Emotionally. That means no longer settling for inconsistency. No longer calling it chemistry when it's actually anxiety. If someone's communication leaves you constantly confused, that's a no, not a challenge. Step 3. Build a relationship with safety. Practice being bored. Yes, bored. Because calm, consistent love might unfamiliar unfamiliar at first, but that's the good stuff. That's peace. That's real connection. It doesn't spike your anxiety, it soothes it. Step 4. Pay attention to the early signs. If a man is vague about what he wants, disappears for days, avoids emotional conversations, or says, "I'm not ready for anything serious," believe him. Don't try to change him. Move on. You deserve someone who shows up fully, who doesn't make you guess, who makes emotional safety a priority, not a prize you have to earn. You are not too much. You're not hard to love. You've just been offering your heart to people who were never ready to receive it. Healing begins the moment you decide you deserve more. Not someday, not if he changes, but now. You're worthy of a love that doesn't hurt to hold. And that starts with how you choose from this moment on. If this video helped you gain insight into your relationship patterns or sparked a moment of reflection, you're not alone. So many of us are carrying emotional wounds we don't even realize, and healing starts by understanding where they come from. At Wisdom Finds, we believe that true transformation begins with awareness. Our goal is to bring you thoughtful, emotionally intelligent content that helps you break old cycles and step into your power with clarity and compassion. If you found value in today's video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps more people find this message. And don't forget to subscribe to Wisdom Finds for weekly videos on relationships, emotional healing, and inner growth. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode. And remember, healing isn't always easy, but you don't have to do it alone. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.